Hello everyone, my name is Gaurav Dahiya. I am currently pursuing my BTech at the National Institute of Technology Raipur. My journey has taken me from the heartland of Haryana to this prestigious institute in Chhattisgarh. As lay the foundation for my professional career, I believe it is essential to calibrate my internal values. To achieve this, I have selected 35 probing questions from my structured introspection journal. This is an analysis of my principles, my objectives, and my vision for the future. The first question is: am I using my time wisely? Time is the most finite resource available for an engineer. I strive to utilize my time with precision, viewing every hour as an investment. Whether I am engaging with the foundational sciences of the first year syllabus or developing soft skills, my intent is to ensure that daily schedule aligns with my long term objective of technical and personal mastery. I avoid idleness, preferring instead to view rest as a necessary period of recalibration. The second question is: am I taking anything for granted? It is easy to overlook the privileges one possesses. I make a conscious and daily effort not to take for granted the sacrifices my parents made me to secure my education, nor the opportunity to study at an institute of national importance. I recognize that my presence at NIT Raipur is a privilege that demands my gratitude, my humility, and all above all, my diligent effort in return. The third question that I can say is: am I employing a healthy perspective? Yes, I endeavor to maintain a perspective rooted in a stoicism and growth. When faced with the rigorous demands of the academic curriculum, I choose to interpret challenges not as burdens but as necessary frictions for intellectual development. A healthy perspective to me is one that acknowledges difficulty but focuses entirely on the solution and the learning outcome. The fourth question is: am I living true to myself? Integrity is the cornerstone of my identity. I aim to live in alignment with the values instilled in me by my upbringing in Haryana. That is, values of resilience, honesty, and fortitude. While simultaneously embracing the progressive, analytical mindset requires a modern IT professional. I strive to ensure that my external actions are flawless reflection of my internal principles. The fifth question is: am I taking care of myself physically? I adhere to the belief that a sharp mind requires a robust vessel. Despite the sedentary nature of academic study, I am committed to maintaining myself a physically like a good health or better health. I view physical discipline not merely as a way to maintain health, but as a practice of self-respect. It ensures I have the stamina required the daily demands of my engineering education. The sixth question is: who am I really? Fundamentally, I am a problem solver. Beyond the levels of a student or a resident of Haryana, I am an individual dedicated to understanding complex systems. I am a lifelong learner who seeks to bridge the gap between abstract logic and tangible human solutions. I am a son who honors his past and an engineer who is building the future. The seventh question is: what worries me most about the future? My primary concern is the potential for obsolescence in a rapidly evolving technological landscape. However, I channel this concern into a motivation to remain adaptable. It drives me to look beyond the immediate syllabus and understand the underlying principles of technology so that I may remain relevant and effective regardless of how the industry shifts. The eighth question is: what am I really scared of? I fear the prospect of unfilled potential. The fear is not about failure itself, but of looking back years from now and realizing that I did not apply my full capacity to the opportunities presented to me. This fear serves as a catalyst urging me to push my boundaries and reject mediocrity in all my endeavors. The ninth question is: what matters most in my life? Excellence and character are a paramount importance. It is sufficient to be merely technically proficient, one must also possess the moral fortitude to use the proficiency responsibly. My academic pursuit is secondary to my development as a responsible citizen who contributes positively to the social fabric. The 10th question is, am I achieving the goals that I set for myself? I view goal achievement as a continuous trajectory rather than a static designation. While I am meeting my current academic benchmarks and adapting to the rigors of college life, the overarching goal of becoming a distinguished technologist is a long term endeavor. I am satisfied with my current pace, but I remain vigilant against complacency. The 11th question is, if I had to instill one piece of advice in a newborn baby, what advice would I give? I would advise them to cultivate patience and persistence. In a modern world, often driven by instant gratification, the ability to endure, to wait, and to work persistently toward a distant object is the rarest and most valuable virtue. Success is really a spirit. It is almost always a marathon. The 12th question is, who has had the greatest impact on my life? My parents remain the primary architects of my character. Their unwavering support, their sacrifices, and their example of disciplined labor serve as the blueprint for my own life. Every achievement I unlock at NIT Raipur is, in essence, a testament to their guidance and their belief in my potential. The 13th question is, am I putting enough efforts into my relationships? I recognize that engineering is collaborative discipline, not a solitary one. I strive to be a reliable peer and a supportive friend. I invest time in building bonds with my batchmates and maintaining connections with my family. Understanding that a strong support network is essential for mental well being and professional success. The 14th question is it more important to love or be loved? To love, in the sense of offering respect, support, and compassion, it is the active principle and therefore more important one. Being loved is a passive result. I believe that by focusing on being a source of strength and positivity for others, one naturally earns their regard. Leadership begins with that one gives, not the what one receives. 15th question is, what small act of kindness I once shown that I will never forget? I recall the mentorship provided by senior students upon my arrival in NIT Raipur. In an unfamiliar environment, their willingness to guide my junior without expectation of reward demonstrated the strength of this academic community. It taught me that true knowledge is not diminished when shared, rather, it is multiplied. The next question is, which is worse, failing or never trying? To never try is to deny oneself the opportunity for evolution. Failure is merely a data, it indicates a need for recalculation or a gap in knowledge. Avoiding the attempt, however, result is a stagnation. It is intellectually dishonest to fear the attempt. For even in failure, there is a success of having gained experience. The 17th question is, what can you learn from your biggest mistakes? Mistakes teach humility and the absolute necessity of precision, whether it is calculation errors in a lab or a lapse in time management. Every mistake highlights a vulnerability that must be strengthened. I view my errors as the most efficient teachers I have. They provide me immediate, irrefutable feedback on my performance. The 18th question is, I feel most energized when I experience peak energy when I am engaged in deep intellectual work, especially when a complex concept in physics or mathematics finally becomes clear after a period of struggle. The clarity that follows confusion is powerful motivator, confirming that my cognitive efforts are yielding results. The 19th question is, make a list of everything that inspires you. I am inspired by the symmetry of mathematics, the logical structure of code, the resilience of the human spirit, and the biographies of innovators who use technology to fundamentally improve the human condition. I find inspiration in the idea that through disciplined thought, we can alter our reality. The 28th question is, What is the life asking for me? Life is asking for my contribution. It requires me to synthesize the technical education I am receiving here at NIT with my personal values to create something of value for society. It asks me to move beyond self interest and consider my skills can eventually serve for the greater good. The 21st question is the words I would like to live by are excellence is not an act, but an habit. This philosophy reminds me that my success as an engineer will not be defined by a single exam or a single project, but by the consistency of my daily discipline and the standards I hold myself to when no one is watching. The 22nd question is what things would you do if you loved yourself unconditionally? I would say I would hold myself to the highest standards of intellectual and moral development, refusing to compromise my potential for temporary comfort. True self regard is found in the relentless pursuit of one's highest self, ensuring that I am always moving forward, the person I am capable of becoming. The 23rd question is does it really matter what others think about me? External validation is fleeting and often subjective. What truly matters is self respect. If I can look in the mirror and know that I have acted with honor, put forth my best effort, and remain true to my duties, the opinions of others become secondary notes in the symphony of my life. The 24th question is if I try to fail and succeed, what have I done? I have engaged in the paradox that reveals the power of intention. It demonstrates that we are the master of our own objectives. If I set a goal and achieve it, regardless of the nature of what goal, I have proven my agency over my own destiny. It emphasizes that success is defined by the alignment of the outcome with intent. The question is what's the one thing I would like others to remember about me at the end of my life? I wish to be remembered as a man of substance, someone who combined technical brilliances with the human empathy. I want my legacy to be one of the reliability, wisdom, and quiet strength. I want to be known as someone who honored his root in Haryana while flourishing in the global landscape of technology. The 26th question is to what degree have I actually controlled the course of my life? I can say profound inquiry into the nature of agency versus circumstance. While I did not choose my origins in Haryana or the initial condition of my upbringing, I have exercised absolute control over my response to those conditions. The decision to pursue engineering, the discipline required to secure admission to NIT Raipur, and the daily choice to prioritize education over leisure, these are the variables I have controlled. I believe that while fate provides the terrain, I am the one navigating the path. The 27th question is am I letting matters that are out of my control stress me out? I actively participate the philosophy of stoicism to mitigate this. In an engineering curriculum, as in life, there are variables such as the grading curves, the weather in Raipur, or the opinions of others that are immutable. I strive to detach my emotional state from these externalities. Stressing over the uncontrollable is an inefficient use of mental energy. I prefer to direct that energy solely toward my own preparation and conduct. The 28th question is if this were the last day of my life, would I have the same plans for today? This is the ultimate audit of one's priority. If the answer is consistently no for too many days in a row, I know a correction is required. Today, my plan involves acquiring knowledge and strengthening my relationships. If this were indeed my last day, I would perhaps spend more time with family, but I would not regret the pursuit of knowledge. A life dedicated to learnings is a life well spent, regardless of its duration. The next question is make a list of everything you would like to say no to. I wish to say no to cynicism or which corrodes the spirit. I say no to the temptation of mediocrity, the voice that suggests good enough is acceptable when excellent is possible. I also say no to the peer pressure that encourages the wasting of time. My objective is to build a life of substance, and that requires the student to decline engagements that do not align with my core values. The 30th question is, make a list of everything you would like to say yes to. I say yes to intellectual changes that intimidate me, for these are the catalyst of growth. I say yes to opportunities for my community service as they ground me in humility. I say yes to discipline, discourse, and the exchange of ideas with my peers at NIT. As these interactions refine my own thinking above, I say to the responsibilities of leadership. 31st question is, what's the one topic you need to learn more about to help you live a more fulfilling life? While my technical curriculum overs the logic of machines, I recognize a need to study the logic of human emotion and leadership. Emotional intelligence is the bridge between a good engineer and a great leader. Understanding how to motivate the team, how to navigate conflict, and how to empathize with the users is a domain I intend to master with the same rigor I apply to coding. The 32nd question is, what surprised you the most about your life or life in general? I am most surprised by the resilience of the human mind. The transition from a protected school environment to the autonomy of the college life was abrupt. Yet I observed in myself and my peers an innate ability to adapt, the endure the heat, the workload, and the distance from home. It is the confirmation that we are engineered to survive and flourish in new environments. The 34th question is, the two moments I will never forget in my life are, first, the moment I saw the pride in my father's eye when my admission to NIT was confirmed. It validated years of unseen labor. Second, the first night I spent in the hostel, looking at the ceiling in the new silence of a new city. I realized that the safety net was gone, and that now I was the sole author of my own narrative. It was a moment of terrifying, yet exhilarating freedom. The 35th and the last question is, write about a time when your work felt real, necessary, and satisfying to you. It was during a minor project where I applied a coding concept to automate a simple repetitive task. Though the scale was small, the utility was undeniable. It was the first time I moved from theoretical consumption of information to the practical application. The realization of that my skills could alleviate a burden, however, a slight gave me a glimpse of the professional satisfaction that awaits in his career. This concludes the current iteration of my self analysis. The question I have answered today are not merely prompts for a journal, they are the architectural blueprints for the person I tend to become. I recognize that the path of an engineer is one of constant problem solving. However, the most complex system I will ever need to manage is my own mind and character. As I navigate the rigorous demands of the information technology curriculum here at NIT Raipur, I will return to these answers to ensure that growth remains aligned with my core values. My objective is not just to graduate with a degree, but to evolve into a professional who carries strength of his roots and the clarity of his vision to the world. I encourage you to also engage in this necessary dialogue with yourself, for we cannot improve that which we do not understand. Thank you for your time and your attention, and I would also like to thank Dr. Anoop Kumar Tiwari Sir for assigning me this project. Thank you.